This book was many years in the making.
Yeah.
When did you get the idea to write this book?
2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, the premise of the book is, solidifying your foundation on emotional intelligence, EQ. EQ is kind of like the rebar to concrete. Concrete without rebar ain't going to do shit, right? So a lot of individuals want to go out there and attempt to build a skyscraper or some form of monument to their existence, but they're building it on quicksand. It's like the lean-tailed peso. There's a reason why it leans, because it was originally built on contaminated soil. That's why it leans. But it took structural engineers 850 years to realise why the thing leans in the first place. It took 850 years.
So your point is to get your foundations correct before you start.
Then you can expedite exponentially. My point is, when you're building skyscrapers or the Burj Al Arab or the Burj Khalifa, it took 5 years of the foundation.
Yeah.
Working your foundation, that's your EQ. And the reason why there are so many individuals that either suicide or they're just socially awkward is because they're high on IQ but low on EQ. If you're high on EQ, that means you're a good grasp on ambition, drive, emotions, giving venture emotions, knowing how to ventilate, knowing how to aerate your soul, and being accountable over you, challenging life, whatever, defining your why, belief systems, self-esteem. See, IQ can wait. When you're raising kids, IQ can wait. I don't give a shit. I don't really give a shit whether a kid can sign their own name or write their own name at age 9. But if they're overdosing on high EQ, trust me, they will thank you in years to come. Build your foundation, solidify it, and then go out there and start adding pillars, concepts, ideas, and businesses as you progress through time. And look, academia failed me only because I was wired somewhat different. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. Everybody went to university but me. I chose not to go. I got into university, but I chose to permanently defer.
And is it true that you didn't go to school from quite an early age?
For the first 10 years, I didn't go to school.
First 10 years?
Yeah.
So you went to school when you were 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was self-taught. Like I said, I had my school curriculum. My first language was Greek, followed by English.
Do you think that had any impact on your development in terms of, integrating with
No.
other kids? Because you were on your own a lot?
I still love my own. I still love my own space, my own company, for example. I have a lot of friends around the world by all means, but I love private time still. When I climb mountains, there's a reason why I climb mountains, because it's the solitude that I'm seeking. Because disconnected from technology, you get to reflect, retrospect. You look at your business models, your business systems. You look at yourself. What do you want to improve on? Your benefits. What are your strengths? So I'm also looking for ways where I can just harness new energies and new opportunities at all times. But I think when I was 10, when I finally joined academia, I knew that I was different.
In what way?
Just culturally and intellectually rich.
How do you think? What made you feel different?
Well, just be able to relate to the other kids. I just felt they are.
What had you done to make yourself?
Well, I just basically my upbringing,
You're immersing yourself in
I immersed myself in the Britannica, so there was that intellectual side, and I studied up on history, and I had a greater understanding of the outside world, and I just felt I had a higher emotional intelligence. I wasn't very good at maths or relational subject, for example, but I didn't want to master that particular subject. For me, it was like, I want to explore the world. I love history.
So let's talk about your parents.
Yeah.
How supportive were they of your endeavours at a very young age? You didn't go to university, and I believe that your brothers and sisters are did the traditional academic route.
So at 16 and a half years of age, I graduated from high school, got to university, and I just knew it wasn't for me. I had no desire. So my older brother studied medicine. Older sister studied law. My other sister studied psychology. At 17 years of age, I sold my first business for $30,000. It was a music school. I had a roster of about 50 students.
Yeah.
I grew my hair long and moved to Hollywood, California at age 17.
What were you thinking at the age of 17?
Well,
What were you thinking when you moved away?
I just gone as far as I could musically wise. See, I'm made in Greece, raised in Australia, right? I went as far as I could musically in Australia. I was seeking inspiration, and all the other greatest musicians were based in Los Angeles. So I went where the action was. I mean, if the greatest musicians were in Morocco,
You would have gone to Morocco.
yeah, if they were in Algeria, I would have gone to Algeria. If they were in Afghanistan, I would have gone to Afghanistan. I would have found a way. So I go to great extremes.
So what was in America?
The best musicians, like all the guys that I grew up on,
Did you
like
go to
music
school
guys.
there, like music school?
I joined. I got a scholarship for a place called the Guitar Institute of Technology, which is kind of like Harvard for law,
Okay.
you know, or like MIT for like. So it was by the way, it was a very prestigious school, and the funny thing was, I never went to class. No, because what I was looking for was there was 400 other musicians who were very, very uniquely talented, and I went there to learn from them because I wanted to be in their orbit, and I didn't go to class once. All I was looking for was inspiration.
Okay. Did you find that?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. But being there at a young age, 17, I mean, I landed in Hollywood. It's not glamorous at all, especially in 1988. It's terrible. There was just drugs, crack, like there was there were more bumps than stars, you know. But Hollywood was Hollywood. It was very, very dirty back in the days. So here's me, 17 years of age, totally green, young, naive, impressionable, and I was living behind Hollywood High School. And Hollywood High School would have like 2 or 3 shootings a week. And here I am, you know, and the school was 24 hours a day. So I'd be walking with a $5,000 guitar on my back, walking through those streets in those alleyways in the middle of the night,
Oh my god.
amongst the chaos of like Los Angeles, which was very, very, there was a lot of crime, alarming-wise. I mean, now it's very pacifying. But in
Were
1988,
your parents very supportive during the early
my mother was only. My father stopped talking to me.
How long did it take for your dad to come around?
I'll tell you what, because my father basically feared that his younger son was going to become a capitalist and an imperialist for living in the United States. So my father was a staunch communist. He was basically exiled from Europe because he was a political dissident.
When did he accept you for who you are?
In 1989, when a Berlin Wall came down, he rang me up and he apologised and he cried. But my mother, she was like, no, everyone can open.
She supported you.
She was like, follow your dream. And my dream was exactly that. She said, follow your dream. And my father was basically, you know, following the academic route.
It's so good that you had that from your mom.
She's awesome.
That's what my grandpa.
That's why I do, I mean, for my mother.
Yeah.
She's my rock. She's my best friend. I mean, you know, I have a home in a rainforest and it's sort of back onto the beach. You know, every time we're up there, we go for long walks and holding her hand. So my best friend is like, you know. But,
How was your relationship with your dad when you were surprised?
yeah,
Did you
it
go back to
improved.
how it was, or?
I mean, look, it was, you know, it was strange for such a period of time. But he died a couple of years after that apology. But you know, he was tethered to his thinking. You know, and I tell everybody, never be tethered to conventional thinking. You know, don't just have like a monolithic ideology. You know? You have to like be able to entertain the mosaic and, you know, be able to extract and, you know, ask about your life's purpose, but allow other people to blossom. See, my mother understood me. You know, certain birds in life, you can't cage because their feathers are far too bright. My feathers were glowing. I mean, my feathers were illuminating, you know, and she sensed that I was different to the other kids. And the thing is, why was I different? My upbringing. See, they went the academic route as young kids at age 4, you know, kindergarten, where I never really had that. I never got that indoctrination. See, the first 10 years is the development years of any child, of any adult.
Yeah.
But my 10 years were somewhat skewed and I had to like design it because my parents couldn't afford a tutor until we finally had somebody to volunteer and teach me English, for example. You know? But but I was pretty much left to my own devices. I would have a nanny. The tutor would come around a couple of times a week, but I was a fast learner because I was hungry. I had this thirst for knowledge, you know. Yeah, the gateway to life. You know, my imagination was basically so free. Like I said, it was that kindling of imagination, and I just continued that legacy. And I just kept on pouring accelerant on it. And I haven't stopped. I mean, I love learning. I love reading. You know, I'm fascinated with history because you know the cradle of every mistake in life, you know, lies under more success by just studying other lives. You know, I love reading about individuals, you know, who came from nothing. I love autobiographies because you learn valuable distinctions you can actually apply to your life. And look, my life isn't even unique. I mean, all really, I've just taken crazy amounts of action, but I'm also contrarian. I don't like, I despise complacency or living a very contrived or sterile life. The way I see life, I'm like, if I'm not being told I'm insane at least once a day, then I'm too mainstream. And if you're too mainstream, you're complacent, you're comfortable being uncomfortable. So for me, I'm very spontaneous. Like, I mean, I could say goodbye to you now, and then tomorrow I could be in a whole different country.